We have Karen Disney-Brombach and Sean Frost competing for District 1, and we have Randy Heimler and Charles Searcy competing for the seat in District 4. All right. With that, we will begin. First question. Well, no, not first question. You get your opening statements. We'll start directly to my left. Start with Karen. And please tell us what you think we need to know. You're going to share a mic there, so you can remain seated if you'd like, or stand.
Thank you.
And one other thing I need to point out, sorry Karen, is for the folks that are at home that are listening, please always remember to say your name so they know who's answering, please.
Hello, my name is Karen Disney-Brombach. I've been a school board member for 8 years. I was elected by my peers on the school board to serve as the legislative liaison for 7 of those years. I was elected by my peers on the school board to be the chairman for 2 of those years. And I have been elected by the state school board association, by the school board members in Florida, to serve as their president for the current year. I have children who have come through the Indian River County school system. One of my children graduated from Charter High School, and 2 of my children graduated from Sebastian River High School. I now have a grandchild who is starting in the 3-year-old program. Serving on the school board has been a sort of point of pride for me. I like representing the school board. I frequently hear from members of the community how much professionalism and politeness has been brought to the board, because we previously had a lot of contention, and I didn't think that interrupts the flow of work. I think that it's very difficult to get work done if you're not someone who has built people skills. So I hope to be elected for 1 more term. There's some work that needs to be done, some things that have been started, and it's important that we have continuity in education in our school district. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Sean R. Frost, and I'm a candidate for school board District 1. You don't know me. I'm not a political figure. I'm just a dad, a former U.S. Marine, or I'm sorry, a Marine. Once Marine, always Marine. And I have a master's degree in business administration, small business owner. I've served as the treasurer for the Sebastian Charter Junior High School, and I was actually a science teacher here in the district, so I know what it's like on the front line of education. I know what it means to be in the classroom and have all the pressure of teaching under all the regulations by the administration. So I know what it's like. I decided to run for office when I realized that even if I wasn't interested in politics, politics was interested in me. That happened when my son, he attends charter, and he had to attend the school board, and it was the night that they ratified the healthcare clinic and finalized some plans for the new administration building. And I realized that I was being called to bring forth my talents to bring about smarter school spending. And the way I hope to do that is utilizing the Frost Plan, which you can learn more about at frostplan.com. My name is Sean R. Frost, and I hope to earn your trust and your vote this evening. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Randy Heimler. I'm running for the District 4 school board seat in Indian River County. And I thank everybody for coming tonight. I'm very happy tonight because my son Joshua is actually here, and with my wife. My son is the 3rd grader over at Rosewood, and he doesn't get to see me campaign too often, so thank you, Joshua, for being here. I plan on being a full-time board member, which is, I think, very important in this district right now. We have so many initiatives going on and so many changes in our schools, and I think the only way to do this job really is on a full-time basis. I'll be in the community, and I'll be meeting with the parents, and I'll be meeting with the PTAs. And our district really has had a lot of trouble lately opening up to our public, and I plan on changing that by eliminating the 3-minute rule, and also by having monthly meetings with the public, open just with the board, not with the district. I was the State Volunteer of the Year for the Department of Education. I have over 2,000 hours of in-classroom teaching experience down at Frederick Douglass Elementary, where I helped a double F failing school in the city of Miami go from double F to make a C. And and I'm very proud of our work down there, and I plan on doing the same thing up here. Parental involvement and community involvement is essential to making this district work. Tonight I was able to see the brochure, the mailer that the IRCEA, which is our Teachers Education Association here, our Educators Association, mailed out for me, endorsing me, which is their first endorsement in the last 6 or 7 years. I don't think I could be any prouder than being endorsed by the educators here. To me, that tells me that they know that I'm going to be there for them, and I'm going to do the right thing for our district and help everybody I can possibly help. We hear a lot about buildings and capital needs, but I'm here to tell you that I'm going to return the focus to the children for a change. We need to change the way we think here. We need to focus on them and increase our grades and work with our teachers instead of fighting with our teachers. So tonight, you'll hear more from me shortly, but I thank you for your support, and I hope you'll believe in my campaign. Thank you again, Randy Heimler.
Good evening, I'm Charlie Searcy, and I'm a candidate for the District 4 school board seat, which is presently held by Carol Johnson. And I'm here to tell you that I'm a 35-year resident of Indian River County. I have thousands of hours of service to your kids and grandkids in this community. I have a degree in economics from the University of Florida. I understand finance. I've been involved in that for about 29 years. My whole focus is going to be on reading and writing and math skills in the early grades. We've tried that in the past, but it just hasn't quite caught on. And we found that if the kids can't read by the time they leave the 3rd grade, they're lost and they'll never make it out of high school. When the Press Journal endorsed me, they indicated that when I was on the school board from 1996 to 2000, I fought for educational excellence and administrative transparency. And whether you like the divisiveness or not that happens on the school board sometimes, they said that I work diligently for the public. And I don't know about you, but I want somebody representing me on the board that is fighting for the public and for the children. I raised 3, my wife and I raised 3 children in this school district. All of them went on to get master's degrees from the University of Florida. One of them even got a PhD, and I'm thankful that they had a mama like my wife Jill, because they sure didn't get it from me. But I have 3 grandchildren, 2 grandchildren in Rosewood Elementary, and I'm going to work real hard to make you proud of this school board member serving you when I take office in November. Thank you very much. It's Charlie Searcy.
All right, thank you. Now we'll rotate who answers the question first. So we'll start with Karen. Sean, you'll take the next first, and Randy, and so on. So first question, 90 seconds to answer the question. Some of them may be 2 parts, so don't hesitate to ask me, especially if you're the 4th one. What was that question again? Feel free to ask me to restate the question. Are you ready? All right. First question is for Karen. The next school board will hire a new superintendent. What do you consider to be the key attributes the selection process should screen for in candidates? And in seeking candidates, will you primarily focus on hiring from within, or will you promote conducting a national search?
Our superintendent must be student-focused and be target student achievement. Our students come from a diverse background. 62% of our students are free and reduced lunch, which means that their income is at 1.5 times the poverty level. We have a number of social issues that come with that. It's not an excuse, but it's a reality. And we need a leader who knows how to teach these kids. In this last school year, the lowest 25% of our students had the highest learning gains of all of our students, and that was a tremendous success. We started our moonshot moment. The wheels are turning, and we'll see the results in 2018. And if we do not have somebody who is willing to have some continuity in some of the programs that have begun, we're going to be starting all over again. That's expensive in professional development for teachers, it's expensive in time loss for students, and it is going to be impossible for this school district to raise its scores if we keep changing programs. So it is student-centered learning and focusing on literacy in particular. Thank you.
And wait, could we stay with Karen for a minute? In regards to the search, hiring within versus a national search, where do you stand?
Not hiring within, doing a search, but not necessarily with a national search firm.
Thank you. Say your name, please, again.
I will. Thank you for the reminder. My name is Sean R. Frost, and it's great that we're addressing the concept of leadership. And one of the things that Fran Adams began was the Moonshot Moment. It's her signature program, and it's something for which she should be very proud. Now, continuing in that legacy, we're going to need a leader who is strong, who is a servant leader. Like, as we say in the Marine Corps, leaders eat last. And that's an axiom by which I personally live. We put our resources where they do the most good and become humble servants. That's what we need to remember as elected officials, as hired professionals, that we are here to serve the will of the people. Now, as far as whether I would look internally or externally, my background is actually in leadership development. So I would begin internally because they're going to understand the terrain. They're also going to understand the particular political situation within the organization. They're going to understand the culture. Whenever you have to look at a situation that's not doing as well and you have to turn it around, you look at the culture, you look at the leadership, you look at the methods, you look at the terrain, and you look at the trends. That's what we need. We need a strong servant leader like myself, Sean R. Frost. Thank you.
Randy Heimler again. What I would say is, I'm going to answer it maybe backwards a little bit, and the second part first. We need to go outside. I think the biggest problem our district has had is hiring from inside the last time. The community has been, I guess, alarmed by the amount of maybe nepotism or favoritism, so we don't want to go there or even have that issue anymore. I think we need to go for sure outside. And the second part of the reason is the staff and the superintendents there now are very well placed. They just hired Andrew Reinberg to be the superintendent of curriculum. You have Bruce Green, technology, Scott Sanders is facilities, and on and on and on. So Fran Adams has made a very good staff, and I don't think disrupting that staff would be a smart idea, and I don't think anybody's ready. Carter Morrison belongs where he belongs. He's very good at the finance part. So we need to go out, but we need to have somebody with a proven track record this time. Not somebody who we just pick out of the air from any district around the country. As Karen said, we have a very high Title I population here. When I was in Miami, my school had 99.9% free and reduced lunch. That means every single child, except for one, ate for free and reduced lunch. So we need somebody with that experience because, believe it or not, our district is just about there at 62 or 63%. We have a lot of schools that are at 75%, which makes them Title I. So we need somebody with that experience with Title I schools because we're really headed in that direction. That is what's vital. So I would say from outside and somebody with a proven track record and no golden parachutes.
I'm Charlie Searcy, and I think that whether it's inside or out, we have to find somebody with some extremely strong leadership skills who's not afraid to move people around, make tough decisions, work with the board, understand his or her job title, let the board be involved in the politics, and the superintendent be involved in challenging every teacher, and every principal to give every child in this district an opportunity to be all they can be. I'm not for dumbing down, and that question's going to come up in a little bit, but we have to have a superintendent who is the cheerleader for this district. Whether they come from inside or outside, I'm in favor of looking anywhere, both inside and outside, Mr. Moderator. And I just hope that we can get the right person at the right time, and I'm not in favor of recycling old superintendents. We've done that before, and for some reason it just doesn't work. I want the best manager we can get, and we're going to take the school district from the C's that it is now up to the A's where I'm sure every one of you want to be. We're going to do that. I'll promise you that. But there are 5 members on the school board, and it's going to take all 5 of them to decide where we're going to go in the search. But from my understanding, they already have the description in place, so it's going to take some good work to get it done. But Charlie Searcy will get it done, I promise you. Thank you.
All right, second question, we're going to start with Sean. In the past year, there has been a lot of controversy concerning Common Core in both the media and amongst the public. Now, given that everyone is for higher standards, please explain your view of Common Core and whether or not it is good for Indian River County schools and our students.
Thank you, Sean Frost. And I actually operate a website called War on Common Core, so that ought to tell you my stance on it. Of course, we're for higher standards. There's not a teacher who isn't, and having taught in the district myself, there isn't a teacher who isn't for rigor, who isn't for high standards. In fact, what we're seeing with the Common Core is something that Brian McMahon spoke about called regression to the mean. It's where you pull your top achieving students down to the mean. And on the good side, we pull some of the lower performing students up to the mean. However, differentiated instruction is the best path forward. Let the teachers teach. They know what they're doing. Give them the standards. Give them the tools. Give them the compensation. Stop unfairly assessing them. As for Common Core, it's bad. It's bad for parents because it removes parental rights. It's bad for students because it overemphasizes standardized testing. My son jokingly said he wanted to start the tested enough already party. I said there's probably going to be a lawsuit regarding that. But it's bad for teachers because they're held to ridiculous standards and their compensation is tied to things over which they have absolutely no control. And it's bad for the taxpayers because although we took $700 million for the Race to the Top grant, it's going to cost an estimated $2.5 billion to implement. And guess where all that's coming from? Your hard-earned money. Sean Frost is against Common Core, and I will work tirelessly to do all I can to remove it. Thank you.
Randy Heimler. I think the common theme around the county and around the state has been against Common Core. We fought hard to be the 50 states of the United States of America and have independence from the federal government. And I don't think anybody really is for federal intrusion into our local educational system, especially when all the money is reward money, and that's what drives the Common Core standards. Sean hit on a good point, and I don't usually refer to other speakers, but I think in this case I will. The teachers want to teach. I hear it every day. Leave us alone, give us a curriculum, let us teach, stop changing it every 1 or 2 years or every 3 years. We're not going to get anywhere that way. I took the practice test just the other day on 4th grade math. It's on the Florida Department of Education website. And oh boy, get ready. It's tough. I'm good at math, but this is really going to be a game changer. Our children are going to have to come up to speed real fast. Now, I know we've been trying to hold off and take a break and not be held to the standards for a year or so, and we've been told we can't do that. The evaluations for the teachers are not fair. Why should the music teacher be evaluated on how the 4th graders are doing in reading? They are very unhappy, our teachers, and this is going to continue to bring them down. But now that our morale hopefully will start to come back up with a new contract, and we'll have standards in place, we can stop the fighting and focus on our children. Let the teachers teach, get away from all the politics, and let's move forward and bring this district back up to where it belongs. Thank you. Randy Heimler.
This is Charlie Searcy again, and I too am against Common Core, or the Florida standards, I think as they're now known. When the federal government brings these issues down to the state level and down to the district level, they give us like 8% of the money, but they want 100% of control. I don't know about you, but I'm not in favor of the federal government having 100% of control over my kids and my grandkids' education. They've done such a marvelous job with the Veterans Administration and the IRS. I just don't think that that's what we need to be running our school district. Our kids are smart. They're just over the country. All of our kids are smart, but our teachers, I think, are a little bit disgruntled with what's going on, and I heard today that a large part of them love the Common Core standards. That's a rumor. But this school board candidate is not in favor of Common Core, period. Charlie Searcy, thank you.
Karen Disney Brownback. The four major issues surrounding Common Core are the ability to select curriculum, the transference of data, the test that's chosen for Common Core standards, and some of the changes that people were looking for in the standards. So the Department of Education has changed the testing. We're no longer involved in the PARC consortium, which was receiving federal dollars. The state legislature passed a bill this year protecting data. The Department of Education changed some of the standards that were objectionable, and the state legislature gave us the ability to select our own books. So many of the issues that were of concern have been addressed. We're going to have to continue to chip away at the few remaining standards that are objectionable. Currently, we have implemented it in the primary levels. This year, it's implemented fully in secondary level. The cost of professional development is huge. So taking it from a position of changing the things that are objectionable rather than throwing the entire thing out is what's better for education. So I believe that the things that are most objectionable have been addressed, and we'll have to look at what else is left and keep working on that through the channels with the legislature and through the Department of Education.
All right, third question. Randy, we're going to start with you. During the prior 5 years in this county, traditional district school student population has decreased by 2.3%. At the same time, charter school student population has increased by 35.7%. Can you explain why you think this is occurring?
Randy Heimler. Yes, I can explain it. We've had 5 or 6 very successful charter schools open up in the last bunch of years. And they've really provided an incredible lift to our community. Some of them are outperforming our traditional schools. It gives parents a much more broad choice. I am for all the choices for our parents, whether it's virtual, whether it's charter, private, public, homeschool. It doesn't make a difference to me as long as the parents are comfortable and have the choices, and thank God in this county they do. Imagine has done very well. The charter high school is off the charts. I sat on the board of the Sebastian Junior Charter High School for 2 years, and it was a great learning experience. Martha McAdams, who was the principal up there, asked me to come up and help when she heard about me from her son. I watched the building, I participated in it, and it does a great, incredible service to that community up there. Not every child belongs in a large school environment. Some of them belong in a small school environment, and it works when you have 200 or 300 children in a building instead of 1,200 or 2,000. It's a no-brainer. Some children get overrun by that whole scenario. And I think in this county, like I said, I'm so glad they have that choice. Now, 2% down and 35% up tells me that there is a great need in this county for diversity, and we have it. And if it continues on that trend, it's okay with me, as long as the children are getting the best possible education that we can provide, whether it's in any of those scenarios, I'm all for it. Thank you.
It's kind of interesting that the charter school
Name,
movement
please.
started when I was on the school board back in '96.
Charlie, tell them your name.
Oh, my name is Charlie Searcy, and this was Randy Heimler that just finished that. I'm sorry, I failed on that piece. But it's interesting to me that the charter school movement started in our district in 1996 to 2000. We approved 5 of them, 4 of them survived. And I can tell you that today, we got the grades, actually within the past couple of weeks, I saw a picture, an article in the newspaper. 4 of the top performing elementary schools in this district were charter schools. Why are they successful? Charter high school has a 94% graduation rate. The charter schools give one-on-one help to the students. If a student can't read, and I understand this happens, the managers of the school, principals or whatever, are giving those students who they've identified as having weak reading skills, they give them extra help, and they make real sure that they can read, and it has worked. The #1 charter school in this district is the North County Charter School, and they beat all of the elementary schools in our district. But some of, I think, at least they had 200 points higher than our lowest scoring elementary school. Charter schools are the thing of the future. We're going to be saddled with them, and it does give every person, every student, an opportunity to succeed, and that's what we're all about. I am Charlie Searcy. Thank you.
Would you repeat the question, please?
Certainly. During the prior 5 years of this county, traditional district school student population has decreased by 2.3%. At the same time, charter school student population has increased by 35.7%. Can you explain why you think this is occurring?
Well, I believe, taking nothing away from the charter schools, I believe it's because of the paradigm shift in the parents wanting to be more involved in education and have choice in education. In our family, we took advantage of the opportunity of choice, and we chose an educational environment that we thought was the best for one of our children. And choosing the correct educational environment is something that only parents are going to be able to know what is best for their child. We often have to confer with the experts at the school district and at the different schools, interview the schools and find out what they offer. But I had a child who succeeded in the charter environment, and I don't think she would have succeeded in a traditional school environment. The other thing that charter schools have that our traditional schools needs to build upon is relationships and customer service. I believe when you have a smaller school environment, that you're able to build those relationships that are so essential, especially for students that are marginal, that are having a difficult time in school. So it is one of the superintendent's goals in the coming year to work on customer service in a form of healthy competition, I believe, so that we have excellent choices for everyone, no matter which zone they live in. Thank you.
This is Sean Frost. Both of my children are fortunate enough to be involved in charter schools. And to answer the question very simply, why are they growing and the regular schools are declining in population? Nothing succeeds like success. As a small business owner and a consultant, I can tell you that. Charter schools are centers of innovation, and they're sort of like incubators in the business world. They can take the best practices and push them out. In fact, one of the things that really troubles me is there's an us versus them, charter versus regular school mentality. And it's unfortunate, even among teachers, these things happen. But we need to approach it not with a but an and. We have regular schools and charter schools. Now, charter schools, because they are centers of innovation, have more flexibility. So they are not under the yoke of the federal intrusion that's come upon our district over the last 8 years. However, we can turn that around by taking our schools back. And the way we do that is the Frost Plan. Fiscal responsibility, removing Common Core and high-stakes testing, open communication, returning emails within 24 hours, operationally defining what a reasonable response time is, not months, but making that something concrete like 5 to 10 business days. And then the S in the Frost Plan is smarter school spending. That means putting the kids first, putting the money not in overhead and operations, but in education, which is the core business of all schools. And last is T, teachers and technology, because that's where we get things done. That's the Frost Plan. You can learn more at frostplan.com.
All right, Charlie, next one's for you. This is our 4th question. Previous boards have used certificates of participation to bypass public hearings, hence bypassing public approval of significant financial projects. Traditionally, these expenditures had to be approved by voters through a bond referendum. Would you support a return to public accountability via bond referendums? Why or why not?
You betcha. My name is Charlie Searcy again, by the way, in case you forgot. I was on the board whenever they had the thing where we didn't get the bids, and I just have a hard time with that, because you never know how much you could have saved. When the board does that and doesn't give you the opportunity to say yes or no, we want to spend these funds on this project or that project, they're cheating you. They're cheating you out of your right. It's your tax dollars that we're spending. And I can tell you, I'm going to be for hard bids on every project, every major project that we have, and not using the bids on somebody from Tallahassee or whatever. We need to get some accountability up there. We have some good people that work up there, but this school district needs to go back to the hard bid process and make sure that we're getting the best bang for the buck. I'm Charlie Searcy. Thank you.
Hi, Karen Disney Bromback. Certificates of participation were something that, it's a tool that the school board, before I was elected, started using with the, around the same time the class size amendment was passed. If you remember at that time, schools, classrooms may have had 20 or so kids in them. And with the class size amendment, a school that previously held 500 kids now could only hold 400 kids once you distributed the students in the manner that was in that constitutional amendment. So referendums take at least a year to get through. The planning takes another year. So the board started using those certificates of participation in order to expedite being able to build the schools and the classrooms that they needed. We've just about now caught up with all of the building that we had to do. And the last 2 years, we've been able to build only using the dollars that come in through the millage money. We haven't had to borrow any money. So we just opened 15 new classrooms at Fellsmere Elementary, and more than that at Treasure Coast Elementary, and removed those portables through tax dollars, not using any borrowed money. And I expect that going forward we'll be able to do that because the growth is flat, and the schools now have the facilities that they need to accommodate all their students.
This is Sean Frost, and I disagree a little bit. Now, what you just heard was that we didn't have to borrow any money. That's because we already borrowed $172 million. So in order to build the $7.3 million administration building, we've already borrowed the money. To say we're not borrowing money is like saying, I'm not out of money, I still have checks. We've already borrowed it. We could use that money instead to pay down debt, which is the fiscally responsible thing to do and the right thing to do for the taxpayers. Now, these certificates of participation are nothing more than a bureaucratic end around on you, the taxpayer, to deprive you of your natural rights to participate in our democracy. We need to take them back. Now, okay, maybe it's not expeditious. When I taught on day one, I had 33 students in some of my classes before classroom size amendment. Was it better afterwards? Yes. But perhaps we need to take a little time. Perhaps we need to think about what we should be spending on. Now, I understand some things are urgent, but on a go-forward basis, doesn't it make sense to take a little time and really reason and have sealed bids and do it the right way, where you, the taxpayers, have a voice? Now, one thing I wanted to return to is, as far as the superintendent search, I am all about the O in the open communication piece, which is why I have on my website a poll. It costs almost nothing. If we want to know the will of the people, just go to voteforfrost.com. Tell me if you want to have an internal or external candidate. Thank you. I hope you will.
Right.
I'm going to ask you to repeat the question as I'm number 4.
Certainly. Previous boards have used certificates of participation to bypass public hearings, hence bypassing public approval of significant financial projects. Traditionally, these expenditures had to be approved by voters through a bond referendum. Would you support a return to public accountability via bond referendums? Why or why not?
Yes, I think everything needs to be accountable when it comes to taxpayer money. I don't see any way around it. There's a very big issue right now with the amount of money that's being collected from the impact fees from our district, from our county for taxes, and where our tax money is going. The charter schools represent 12% of our population now, and they want to share in the impact fees. And I think every time the school system goes out and does something with a large expenditure without the public approval, it only makes it more transparent that something is wrong. And I am all for transparency. The thing that was brought up before is an RFP for the bids, and we can't keep giving the same contracts to the same builders in this county. It doesn't make any sense. There are a lot of good builders, and there's a lot of very capable people. So I think we need to open up the whole process and be very transparent and have the public involved. It can't continue the way it is, because it's causing so much friction with our own community. And now we have a group, and rightfully so, that wants to examine where all the impact money is going. And I couldn't agree with them more. So I am all open for that, and I'm for the most transparency and the most accountability possible.
All right. Question number 5, Karen, we're back to you, okay? However capital funds are raised, what is your opinion about the sharing of these funds between district schools and charter schools, knowing that charter schools are educating ever-increasing numbers of Indian River County students?
I was the board member who brought up sharing capital money with charter schools. We did a needs assessment, and we shared capital money with 4 of the 5 charter schools, because the 5th one did not meet the criteria. One of the criteria was that you had to be open for at least 5 years, and another was a successful school grade. So one of the schools didn't meet that criteria, but we did share. Also, the referendum that you all passed 2 years ago, the 0.6 mils that is being used for technology and for special teachers, like music and art teachers, we are sharing that with charter schools as well. And this isn't even capital money. So I think that is, though, an example of what this current board is willing to do and what I'm willing to do. Also, it was mentioned that the charter schools don't receive capital dollars, but they do receive money from PICO funding. And the PICO funding, actually, more of it has gone, twice as much has gone to charter schools as has gone to traditional schools, but there aren't nearly as many charter schools as there are traditional schools. So there are capital dollars in there. And somehow we'd have to work through an equation that accounted for those dollars as well.
Sean Frost here. Now, anyone familiar with contract law will tell you there's a difference between shall and may. Right now, the district may share capital funds with charters. My suggestion would be that we change that language to shall. It's only fair. They're where we're growing on the edges. And we can't, it comes back to that jealousy thing about, oh, well, charters are getting more PICO money. Well, charters are doing more with less. Why is that? Now, we see situations where schools are converted to centers of innovation, just as the newly renamed, it was Highlands Elementary, now it's Indian River Academy. When they become a center of innovation, they get to change the rules. We saw that at Glendale. And they went from an F to an A. Now, one thing I learned at the an autism symposium down at Florida Atlantic University was that the concept of universal learning design. And that's when we do one thing that's good for a special needs student, it benefits the general education population, those who are not classified as special needs. So why wouldn't we do that as far as the charter schools go? We need to make it fair and equitable. So, you know, I'm a big supporter of charter schools, and I feel that we should go from may to shall in sharing these capital funds. Thank you.
Randy Heimler, I think I answered it. I was ahead of this question. I've done a lot of research on this because when these issues come up in the county, and this one seems to be a hot ticket lately, I go on and I do as much research as I can. The last 3 years, the traditional schools haven't received any money from the state for PICO money for capital funding, and the charters have received a tremendous amount. This is the first year that both have received capital money, but as Karen said, there are a lot less charters than there are traditional schools. So there does need to be a formula, and I'm a big fan of that. We need to look at all the dollars going in from both the state and from our county before we can figure out exactly how to share, but I am a big fan of sharing. I think it should be done, but it can only be done if the money is there. There's going to be, this issue is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger because the county taxpayers want to know exactly where their money is going, and they don't want it to go just to the state. They want to know exactly where it's going locally. So I'm a big proponent of not changing the legislation, because we can't do that. We can't change shall to may or will and all that stuff, and I'm not digging you, Sean. I like you a lot, as you know. But we can't change the legislation. We have to work with what we have. So if we have the money and we can share, we should share. But we have to look at the big picture of all the money that's coming down to the schools from the state and from the our local taxes. Thank you. Randy Heimler.
Well, we can't share the money with the charter schools because we don't have enough money. Well, you know, they found $7.2 million to build a new administration building. And I think a little bit of that could have gone to the charter schools. If you have a board that consists of 5 members and 3 of them are in favor of sharing money with the charter schools, the legislation says you may share the funding. It's pretty simple to me. 3 is the magic number on the board, by the way. And we ought to be, those children in those schools are our children. They belong to this district, and they deserve to have clean, safe, and dry facilities. That's what capital dollars are for, and we need to support them in every way that we can. If the performance in those schools is better than what it is in the high school and the other public schools, so what? They need our help just as bad as the public schools need it. I'm in favor of sharing, and if we have 3 votes on the school board that are in favor of sharing the money, may is an okay word. I'm Charlie Surson. Thank you.